Live from Latrobe Motorsports Studios, this is Ride Along with Howie, from the fast half-mile track at Latrobe Speedway, where it's grassroots racing at its finest. Here's Howie.
Race fans, who's ready to go for a ride? This week, we're going to talk to two of the drivers from Latrobe Speedway. The first guest tonight is the new point leader in the Special T Metals ProStocks, the driver of the Line X of Latrobe. Car number 4, Mr. Brett Hutira. Brett, welcome back to Ride Along.
Thanks for having me back on again, Howie. Hopefully everybody can hear us a little bit better this time.
Sounds a little bit better. I appreciate you taking time out of your workday to do this. Tell you what, man, we were talking in Victory Lane the other night. You guys found something on that number 4 car, man. It was on kill mode the other night.
Yeah, we were pretty awesome. I was happy to see all kinds of rain during the week because I think everybody's in trouble when the track got some moisture in it. I think everybody knows that on our crew, and I know I've heard it throughout the pits that people don't want to see moisture in the track because they know we're going to be dangerous when there's any kind of bite out there. So we got things tuned in right now pretty good, but I'm sure it'll come back around and everybody will catch up and we'll be looking for speed again.
You know what? It looks like the car has the speed that it had at the beginning of the year. Around mid-season, you decided to venture out and you went up to Sharon, and the car got involved in an accident, had to put a clip on it, and Joe Kelly lent you a car for a week to try to help keep you in the point battle. But just like getting back the car, it seemed like you've been chasing it and finally found it on Saturday night.
Yeah, things were a little bit different. I think a lot of people think that we're running in a new car and that we have a lot of new equipment and a lot of money invested in our stuff. And I guess we can't say that we don't have a good chunk of money invested, but that was an older car. That's SS car number 34. I got it from Chris a couple years back, and things were dated. I'll be honest that we were out. We were pretty stocked compared to what a lot of guys in our class were running, and we were a little bit behind the 8 ball in technology. And when we went up to Sharon, we got a little tore up, and I was a little sad to see it because we really had that thing dialed in beginning of the year, I felt like, and that really threw a wrench into the system. We kind of had to throw a lot of our notes and stuff out. I don't want to say completely throw them out, but all of our usual marks that we were used to had to kind of get rid of, and Chris updated all of our stuff, and we had different locations and different mounts for our all of our shocks and stuff like that. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I think we've taken some of our notes that we had previously and taken some of our new the new little tweaks that Chris has put into the cars, and been able to try to finally get it back to about where it was, or maybe even better. I think a lot of people say they think we're better at this point. So
I would say, like I said, the car definitely almost looked like it was in attack mode, and it reminded me of the early part of the season, and the car was definitely good. We talked about new chassis, new cars, and that, and it's almost like a dating process. And what I mean by that is you don't know necessarily what you have until you actually go to the track with it. And doing all those updates, I'm sure you're glad now that they were done, but probably at mid-season, that probably wasn't the ideal time to do them, was it?
No. When we started the whole clip deal, I took Chris the clip and took him the parts, and he said, "Great, we're gonna get you we're gonna get you updated to 2022." And we actually had a discussion about not even doing any of it because mid-season and in the middle of the run that we were having, as good as the car was, we really didn't want to mess with anything. But at the same time, we also knew that my car wasn't. We used to joke that my car wasn't very straight to begin with. I'm sure a couple people remember that we've run into a few things in my learning curve when we weren't very good. And last year, I think we bent the clip at least twice. and we pulled it back, and everyone told us as long as you make it close. Well, we made it close, and it definitely wasn't square, but I think we found out that having it square makes a difference. I think it was still worked really good the way it was, but mid-season was definitely not the way I would have planned to do it, and it's not the way I don't think anybody wants to do it. But sometimes you got to deal with what you got, and we made it work, and I think we're figuring it out now. So no complaints. It's all a learning curve, like you said. It's kind of like, I guess, kind of like dating. You gotta kind of work with what you got, kind of feel it out, and then
remember, we're not rated R. Just remember, we're not rated R. You can only get so far on the dating.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But in all seriousness, the first time you brought the car out, what after the accident, after getting it clipped and everything, what was it like? Was it, hey, I mean, did it feel different when you're out there the first couple laps? It's like, oh no, I got to relearn all this again. Like, I know, like the way the suspension, everything was before, I got to this point I could crank it and it would get me through the turn. Is it kind of like learning all the driving style over again, or you were able to set it up pretty much close to the way it was?
We pretty much went with pretty much where about we were before. We kind of had a baseline. You know, we try to do a really good job with taking notes on what we do. I think a lot of people know that I'm an engineer, so I'm kind of meticulous with my stuff. I like to have things documented, and I like to, I guess, like I like to approach racing from a little bit more of a scientific approach. I like to, have notes and things like that. So we had an idea of where we needed to be. We put it close to about where we thought it needed to be, and I think it only took probably about 6 or 8 laps to figure out we needed a little bit of tweaking. We made a couple tweaks and said, man, we might actually have a better hot rod than we had before. So it's just been I think the, like you said, the new updates and stuff like that just gave us more things to play with, and I think we've there's a couple times we've tuned ourselves out of it by trying to get too creative. We should just stick with what we got. And other times those little adjustments are, come in handy. So it didn't, but I guess to answer the question, it didn't take long. We pretty much knew right out of the box that we put it back to about where we were, and it was still pretty good. So
now, how big of an adjustment was it? And then let me back up. When you brought the car back and you put it back together, you actually have a teammate in a way, Noah Burnell, who has a lot of experience with this style of car. Was he able to help you get the setup done?
It's interesting that you bring that up. Noah helped us a lot with the old car and getting us kind of in the ballpark of where we needed to be. But actually, when we brought the updated car home, me, my dad, and some of our crew guys here, we put the car back together in 2 days, and pretty much kept all of our springs and shocks and all the stuff that we had before. Pretty much kept that all exactly where it was, and just went with the old setup. And so we really didn't have to do anything like that. I mean, we put it back on the scales. We scale our car pretty regularly, and put all of our suspension locations back to kind of about what we call baseline, and just went with it. And I think that's, again, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If we already found something that worked, we were just going to try to make sure that we've, I guess, proved that our wheel was right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say definitely it was rolling pretty good. Hey, now's the chance for you to go ahead. First of all, I appreciate you taking time out of your work day to go for a ride, and I know you got to get back on that bridge. So why don't we go ahead and thank everybody who helped make Hutira Motorsports the team that they are today.
Yeah, for sure. Line XLA Trobe, they've been with me since the beginning. They're great help for us. My employer, Advantage Steel and Construction, they're on board. I love that everybody from my work supports me. RJ's Heating and Cooling, they're a new sponsor, came on board this year because they like that we're kind of no BS and kind of, I guess, call people out on their garbage. So thanks to RJ for coming on board. A Machine, John Gilmore Engineering, all those guys help us out with our power plants, keep us in the right direction. Wholesale Transmission, help us with all our tranny work. Pit Stop Pizza, Tidal Wave Car Wash, Mike Emmett Construction, Scott Barnhart Electric, and SS Chassis, Letters by Brunel, and Noah Brunel Racing. So those guys all keep us there, keep us on the track, and support us week in and week out. And then, of course, all my crew guys, my dad, Hunter. I'm sure that anybody who's familiar with us, you see us putting out our YouTube vlogs. She works real hard on that. So thank you guys for all that support with that. And then DJS Swag, Justin and his crew over there take care of all of our apparel, and they've been doing a kick butt job on it. So if you guys haven't got a shirt yet, shirt, hoodies, get a hold of either me or Hunter, or try to check us out at the track, and we usually have stuff with us. So thank you to all those guys and that everyone that contributes. I know I'm missing some names, and I hope I'm not missing a big one, but those are the people that get us through week in and week out.
And I know you weren't gunning for a championship coming into this year, and every time I bring it up, you always want to change that subject. But you know what? Through the driving ability that you have in your team, you're leading the points. And we also have to give a big shout out to Joe Kelly, a guy who used to crew on his car. And when your team was down, he called you Friday night before your race Saturday and said, "Get your butt over here and get this car and go race it tomorrow to try to maintain the points." And that's a guy who's won 15 championships. And this is what, your third year of racing. And for him to have that much confidence in you, as well as Anthony Monapart and that team over there helping any way they can to keep you going, it just says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've known Joe for a long time, and it's great to have somebody like that in your corner that you can go to for advice. There's so many people in racing that if you're not using the people in the racing community to your advantage, you're really missing out. This isn't as much as you want to say it's a one person sport. It's one guy behind the wheel. There's so many people that I communicate with regularly. The guys at SS, like you mentioned earlier, Noah Brunel, Joe Kelly, my brother Anthony, Cole, just the amount of people that we can talk with on a regular basis. I mean, even some of my competitors. I mean, you mentioned earlier, that we're in this points race with Tommy Dembowski here at Latrobe Speedway. When we hurt the car a couple weeks ago at Sharon, Tommy was crewing for me, man. He was up there helping make adjustments, making suggestions. There's not many places or I don't know, sports, anything that you can do where your number one competitor is also on your side trying to help you, try to get to the front. I mean, that's a unique situation that I don't know. I don't know if it's just our personalities on our group or what it is, but I really think if you're not trying to network and use the people in racing around you, then you're missing out on a golden opportunity. So I know I downplay the championship thing every time it comes up. That I always just try to take things one step at a time. That's all that we've really set out to do. If you look at our schedule from the beginning of the year, we said we were pretty much going to race Latrobe and Lernerville every week. The Lernerville thing, we had a rough start, and with the way the parts and stuff are right now, I just elected to stay home and, like you said, race locally. And I don't want to say we weren't chasing a points championship, but we really just want to win races, and we know the championships will take care of themselves. I think if you're focused too much on championships, it'll I think that can work on people, and we're just going to take it one race at a time. And if you focus on the task at hand, I think it'll take care of everything in the big picture down the road. So that's our goal, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we're where we want to be. And if not, we'll do that. We'll do that again next year or whenever the opportunity comes about.
Hey, real fast, you mentioned you and Tommy and how you guys get along and everything. I read something on social media the other day from one of your other competitors in the pure stock division, Joey Catellis. And Joey was having trailer problems getting to the track. And basically, to make a real long story short, he got to the track as his feature was pulling out. And he signaled out two teams, the 4 team and the 79 team, for basically unloading his car and getting it ready while he got his uniform on. And the confidence he had knowing that you guys had that car ready to go, he bolted in, jumped in that car, and moved up 9 positions in a race. And that says a lot for you guys as your character, because you know what? You're going out there 100 and some miles per hour, and you know, whether it be Brett Coney or one of your crew guys, that those lug nuts are on. And I just wanted to mention that.
Cool. I mean,
go ahead, Brett. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I mean, sorry, go ahead. You got to help got to help everybody out, just like you said. That's we're all there for one reason, and it's not to not make friends, or we're there to race. And if somebody needs help, I mean, I don't see a reason why you can't help a fellow competitor that needs it. I mean, we just rolled off the track, and Joey was in need, and like you said, both sets of crews were over there helping, doing everything they can to try to get back out, to get the guy on the track. And my brother's pitted right next to me, and he races against the guy. I mean, it's just the right thing to do. And I would hope that, like I told Joey, I would hope that someday down the road that somebody will pay me back in the same way, whether it's him or somebody else. It's just, helping out the people that, help, make this thing go around is, I think, something that we all should do and strive to be.
Well, speaking of pay, I better let you go so you can get back to work and earn that paycheck to keep the car going. But race fans, that's Brett Hutira, pilot of the Hutira Motorsport, Juanes of Latrobe, car number 4, your point leader in the Special T Metals ProStocks. Thanks for your time, Brett.
Thanks for having me again, Howie.
All right. Race fans, it's time to go for another ride. And in the passenger seat this time is going to be Andy Jones, pilot of the 513 Jones Motorsports Chevrolet. And Andy, welcome to Ride Along. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, Howie?
I'm doing well. We appreciate you taking the time out. Having a very good season, very consistent. You had that career best second place finish probably about a month ago or so, and seeing a lot of improvement out of both the Jones brothers' cars. Again, yours is the 513. Your brother Adam is the 38. What's it like to be out there competing against your brother?
It's awesome to race with him. We don't even see it as competing against each other, just out there having fun as brothers.
And he picked up a heat race win, and you have been, or I believe you have a heat race win now too, but you have that second place in the feature. And man, it was just your dad at that start finish line when you two are out there. The smile from ear to ear and the pride, just knowing that his boys are out there. And I mean, it just says a lot. And you bring your family and your dad and your brother, and not a big team, but I will say this: if anybody ever has a problem in your area of the pits, the Jones family is right there to help them. And it doesn't matter if it's a crate late, pure stock, 4-cylinder, you guys jump right in.
100%. Always.
Now, the way you guys got involved in racing is kind of unique. And correct me if I'm wrong, when you guys found out Latrobe was reopening the circle track, you guys were actually up there helping rebuild the track, we'll say. The grandstands and that, and just basically fell in love with the sport from that. Is that correct?
That is part of where our love for racing came from.
Okay.
Now, my dad and my pap raced 20 years ago up at Marion Center and Challenger.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they raced pure stocks at the time.
What were the numbers?
Dad's was 38. I couldn't remember my grandfather's number.
So that's why when Adam started racing before you, and he took the number 38, where did the 513 come from?
It was my mother's birthday. She passed away a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I didn't realize that. Um, so you guys, do you remember much about going to Challenger? You were probably just a little kid back then.
Yeah, I was too young to remember them days if I was part of it. But
Okay. Now, when Challenger closed, Dad and Pap got rid of the cars, or
yeah.
okay,
Yep, they got out of it. Dad got back into it, my guess would be 10, 12 years ago for a season at Latrobe, but he got out of it again.
what did Dad run then?
He ran a 4-cylinder, a little Geo Prism.
Okay. Vaguely remember the car. But yeah, now that you mention it. And then when the announcement was made, you guys came up and started, and you guys built Adam's car, correct?
Yes.
And then he started racing first, and then you went and obtained Todd Dietrich's car, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the car that you got was actually a championship car from Roaring Knob. Tell me about like what the first couple times you got in the car. What was it like pulling out on that big half mile?
Exciting. Very exciting. I wasn't very fast. I didn't know what I was doing, but as long as I was in that car, I was happy.
And what did your family say when you and Adam decided you guys wanted to start racing? They try to talk you out of it?
No, they were more excited than we were.
And your brother did the family number of your dad, carrying the tradition on of the 38. And like I said, you run in honor of your mother with the 513. That was her birthday. And you guys started racing. And was it better off doing what you did, buying an existing car? Or do you think it was better off what Adam did, building one?
It depends on how you look at it. Depends on what kind of time you have. I definitely didn't struggle as much as Adam did with suspension tuning and all that stuff, but depends on the situation and who you are. There is no right or wrong.
Now, you guys are both driving Cobalt chassis cars, or body cars. Are you guys able to use suspension ideas on both chassis, or just two different builds?
They're two different. We can help out with motor stuff, but chassis stuff, mine's a Cavalier, his is a Cobalt, so they're a little different.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had Cobalt too. So.
Oh, that's okay.
But you went with the aftermarket nose on yours.
It was on the car when we purchased it.
Okay. And you ever thought about letting your dad get back behind the wheel, let him rip one out around for a couple laps, or?
I would love to see him rip around that track for a night or at all. He was worried about wrecking somebody else's car, and I understand that. But no, I would love to see him out on the track.
Why don't you talk to him? Maybe one night after the races, we can we'll convince Dennis to leave the lights on for a couple more minutes and just let your dad go out there, whether it's your car or your brother's car, and just turn a couple laps. And
I think that's going to be a conversation this year.
Yeah, definitely. Now, did you ever drive Adam's car, or did you guys ever switch to try to get different opinions on the car?
No, we never tried that. We always felt like we were used to what we were driving, so it was better just to stick with what we knew.
Do you guys race out of the same shop, or?
Sometimes. It depends on where the car is at and where it's being worked on. His is at his place, and mine's normally at my house. So
okay,
we work on each other's stuff. depending.
Now, where do you live at?
New Florence, Pennsylvania.
So you're up by Uniontown? Or am I thinking wrong? I'm thinking wrong.
No, we're on the outskirts of Johnstown, kind of.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, nice little trip down every week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a nice drive. Not bad.
What do you like most about racing? The family time, the friends you make, the shop time, or the actual driving time of the race car? I mean, not driving to and from the track.
We love it all, but my favorite part of it would be the driving, the escape from everything else but what I'm doing.
What does the future hold? Do you guys want to move up, or do you want to stay in the four cylinders a little bit longer?
I'm not sure what Adam's plan is. My plan is to stay with the four cylinders another year and see where it goes from there.
When you first started, were there any drivers that you would say went out of their way to try to help you come down, introduce themselves, or offer help?
Oh, yeah. At half of the four-cylinder class came down. Specifically, Colt McNaney, the Spanglers, Wyatt we talked to, a couple of the Grubs we talked to, everybody. We all talk with the new drivers and help where we can.
It seems like the older, experienced drivers, they're very protective, and they want to come down and teach the new drivers the proper way of racing. And that's almost old school, where, like I said, I know there was a night that Mike Watt came in with a flat right rear tire, and your team, Adam's team, Colton's team, and I'm sure I'm missing people, you guys had that car jacked up, had a tire ready to go on before Michael's pit crew got there. And it just says, that's old school racing, when you want to try to help anybody you can. And I'm not saying even if you don't know what you're doing, but don't take this wrong. What do you guys know about late models?
Anywhere we can help, we'll help anybody, any class.
And that's probably, one of the best parts is we lost Jeffrey Vazos, and everybody just wanted to donate and make that race as great as it was. Even your family, and any team that did that earned my respect, because instead of taking that money, whatever they gave, whether it be $5 or $500, it's money they could have put in their car, but they just wanted to try to benefit and make Jeffrey's race that much more special. And it's just, guys, that whole division's definitely all first class. I mean, there's no fighting, there's no rumbling. Everybody's here and they try to help each other. And it just, first class. That's really the only way to describe you guys.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, this is what, your second full season?
Yep.
So have you noticed a lot of games starting to understand the cars and that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing this 2 years now. We're still learning new stuff and learning new ways to take a corner or wire shift. It's always going to be a learning experience.
What was it like when you did get the car out to the lead? Does it seem kind of weird, because up to that point you've always been the chaser, now you're the chasee?
It's a whole different kind of experience. No matter if it's a heat, a feature, all you can think about is try to stay up here.
I remember I was talking to one driver. I'm not going to say who, but he's like, Howie, the first time I got out in the lead, I came out 4 and almost spun out and took out the whole field, because I'm so used to chasing somebody that I'm gauging off of that, and I wasn't paying attention, and I just stayed in the gas, and there's that outside wall. And he said, when I jerked it, I almost lost the rear. And he's like, everybody thinks this is easy, and out front's the place to be, but you just learn so much more by being behind somebody. You can see, okay, visually, that line is getting him faster. Maybe I need to do that.
Yep. Of course, the most of my drive, learning how to drive on the track, was following our top guys and trying to almost keep on their line to see what's fast and what's not.
And then, like I said, you got out and you won that heat. You had that second in that feature. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised to see whether it's you or your brother get a win this year.
We're going to keep trying as hard as we can.
Now's a chance for you to go ahead and thank everybody who helped, whether it be financially, time working on the car. Let's talk about all your sponsors and the crew that makes the Jones Brothers Racing team so successful.
Well, at first, I'd have to thank my wife. She's spent a lot of nights in the garage with me, just being there for moral support. My dad and my brother, 100% for always having their hands, helping out where they can. My grandfather, same deal, helping out wherever he can. The McNaney racing team, once again, helping out on the track. My mother, for always being there. My stepmother. And of course, everybody else in the 4-cylinder class and everybody else in every class that's been out to help out. It's been a lot of hands in this car this year, and I appreciate every little bit of it.
How about sponsors? Who helps offset that cost?
Myself and my wife.
Okay. Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes it's better when you do it yourself and you pay for it yourself. It makes that first win that much more special.
Oh, of course.
So, hey, Andy, we appreciate you taking time and telling us about the history of Jones Family Racing. And you and your brother both got your starts. And we appreciate your time. And race fans, all I can tell you is be sure to keep your eyes on the Jones Brothers race team. Adam in number 38, and the gentleman we just talked to, Andrew, in the 513. Thanks, Andy, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Race fans, that's going to conclude another Ride Along with Howie. And I'd like to go ahead and thank my sponsors that I have. That include Joe's Body Shop and Towing and SMB Promotions. Now, I'd like to go ahead and thank all the sponsors of Latrobe Speedway. That include K2 Engineering, Rock Auto, DJS Swag, Seal Tight, Joe's Body Shop and Towing, SMB Promotion, Stone & Company, Vinyl Destinations, and for anybody who's out there looking for a job, don't forget, General Cartwright is hiring. Benefits start with day one. For more information, check out their website. And I'd also like to thank our latest sponsor for the best piece of glass. Be sure to go to Latrobe Glass and Mirror. Remember, race fans, support those who support racing, and we'll see you next week at the races.